How do you make your skin look radiant and your energy soar? Find out on this episode of Digging In. Today we're going to answer some questions you have about nutrition in the form of supplements. Now, hear me out. I know I'm going to start answering these top hits. These are the questions I get asked all the time, and these are only going to make you want to ask more questions. Well, go ahead and ask away because I'm going to continue to answer your questions on vitamins and nutrition. A lot of the food sources in which we are dependent on to get the nutrition we need come from very depleted sources. The soils, and a lot of what we buy in the store, don't forget, there's a lot of truck time involved, meaning that that food is carried for a long time before it actually gets on your table. And in that process, there's a lot of depletion of vitamins, depletion of minerals. When you get farm-to-table foods, when you buy things from farmers markets, when you buy things in their purest, most whole form, you are getting more nutrients. You are getting more nutritional value. We're either in a position where we're doing fine, but we need to make sure that we stay there. We want to keep our levels where they need to be, or we're actually starting out at a place where we're deficient. We're in nutrient deficiency, and we have to get to sufficiency. It's very hard to give just a general answer because there is some variables. If you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and you're in relatively good health, a supplement can be really helpful. A multivitamin can be very helpful. But what I'm finding is that a lot of people, they don't have to take it every day. It's not necessary to take one every day, maybe 3 times a week, maybe 4 times a week. That's where this personal play and this whole idea of keying into your body, making sure that you have that strong connection with your body and pay attention how things make you feel. Well, that depends on the supplement because there are some supplements that are fat soluble that you're going to have to take with food for your body to metabolize that supplement. Something like an oil. So you're taking MCT oil or flax oil or something like that. You're going to need to take food with that. A, K, E, D, all of those supplements, they're all fat soluble. So look and see if you're taking A, K, E, or D, you need to take those with food. Now, there's water soluble on the other hand. Water soluble you can take anytime you want. And so an example of that would be your probiotics. Other water-soluble vitamins are vitamins like vitamin C and all the Bs. The one exception to the water solubility rule is that B12 is a B vitamin. So you're thinking, well, you said B vitamins are water soluble. I don't need to take food with them. B12 is the only exception. B12 you actually should take with food, and we often know about B12. We think about it as the energy supplement. We know about B12 shots and B12 supplements. They work great to enhance energy. It's a big yes, and here's why. Because when you talk about the pillars of health, and I talk about this frequently, there is a hierarchy, and sleep and hydration are at the top. Sleep and hydration, essential. And so if you're not getting sleep, everything goes amok. So I love to take supplementation that has melatonin. And here's why. Because out of all of the other ways and supplements that help people sleep, well, I can't take that because that gives me nightmares. I can't take that because it makes me groggy. It's just kind of the data that I've collected over 2 decades that most people do pretty well on melatonin. But here's what I want you to keep in mind with melatonin. You need very little. You need very little. So a lot of times it's in a 3 milligram dosage. You have to take 2 gummies or you have to take 2 supplements, and it turns out that it's 3 milligrams or sometimes even 5. Most of the patients that I've worked with, they can take 1.5 milligrams and actually feel pretty good, because what you don't want is your body to stop producing its own melatonin. You don't want to shut that system down. So a lot of times what I say is a little lemon balm, a little melatonin at night is very helpful to help soothe you and get you on the right track to sleep. So calcium and magnesium. Calcium is when maybe you don't key into your diet enough to know, am I getting enough calcium? Am I getting enough green vegetables? Because believe it or not, there is a ton of calcium in green vegetables. Am I getting other sources? That's why I think a bone density test for women 40 and above to get a baseline is really important. So once you have your baseline, you'll know the direction in which your calcium is going. If you are osteoporotic in any way, you have a family history and you just feel like you're feeling like you're weak and your bones are weak, or maybe you have had some kind of x-ray that's indicative of any kind of stenosis or any kind of issue within your vertebrae, get some supplementation for calcium and magnesium. It's very easy. And magnesium is a supplement that I really love because it's one of the best ways to treat constipation. And also, it's a great natural muscle relaxer. So if you have tight muscles or you feel anxious and you feel tight a lot, I love magnesium for helping you feel relaxed. Understand that how your body dismisses iron is very important. For one thing, men actually have a much harder time releasing iron from their body. They store it much more readily. So you want to be careful of that. If you're going to take iron supplementation, here's my request. Make sure that you know where your iron is. You don't want your iron levels to get too high. Now, what are some of the signs that my iron level is low? Here's two really unusual signs. Number one, you get cold a lot. People that are frequently cold, we instantly think, well, thyroid and other things, but actually have your iron levels checked too. Another crazy fact, chewing on ice cubes. People that crave ice cubes, it's pica. We hear about that in pregnancy a lot. People that crave different things when they're pregnant. Actually, if your iron is low, oftentimes people are craving ice cubes. Now, if you're going to take a supplement, you've gotten your levels checked, you know you need it, please take a food-based iron supplement. It's much easier on your body and you're not as inclined to take too much. So one of my top hits always is omega-3 oils. And you want to make sure you get this in fish. You want to make sure you get this in actual supplementation, oils that you can buy in most of the grocery stores, health food stores, because we actually need this oil, this healthy oil, to not only, it's a great way to burn fat because you need fat to burn fat, but also has a lot to do with our cellular health. Our cells have a membrane, a fat, a lipid layer, and we need this for our cells to react and to behave in the most healthy way. So omega-3s are always a good idea. Here's another reason why we always want to make sure we have omega-3s, because so many of us combat inflammatory type of issues or a flame in our body, and that can be a real problem. Omega-6 is where a lot of the inflammation comes from. Omega-3s oftentimes are accompanied with omega-6. And we want those ratios to be where they should be, a 1-to-1 ratio, but oftentimes they're not. And this omega-6 is really high, and you've got a little bit of omega-3s. So in order to counterbalance that, we want to make sure that we have enough omega-3s in our diet to combat the inflammatory omega-6. We always think about orange juice when we think about vitamin C. And vitamin C is actually really important. And one of the ways I actually don't recommend that you get it is just by drinking a lot of orange juice, because the sugar in there is actually going to counterbalance all of the productivity that the actual vitamin C can give you, all the nutrition the vitamin C can give you. I have no problem with splashing a little orange juice here and there in a cocktail maybe, or maybe in a dish that you're making. Fine, or even a smoothie, a splash here and there. You don't want to drink it to actually combat thirst. It's not a good idea. So here's how you want to take vitamin C. You want to take vitamin C with some kind of bioflavin. Sometimes it comes with rose hips, or you'll see it oftentimes comes with this already. And you want to get about 2,000 milligrams a day. Again, how do we build our armor? Vitamin C does so many beautiful things for the body, and it makes a big difference when you take it on a regular basis. This is one of those regular hits that make a big difference. And when you're not feeling well, honestly, load up on vitamin C. It does make a big difference. What I love about vitamin C is that the research really does say it can shorten the duration of colds. It can make a big difference. Now let's talk about beauty for a minute. It's also great for building beautiful skin because collagen has a rate limiting factor, and that rate limiting factor is vitamin C. In other words, you need vitamin C for your collagen to work. So you always want to make sure that you're getting enough vitamin C in your diet. I love zinc. Love, love, love zinc. What I want you to do the minute you start feeling any kind of cold come on, grab that zinc because it will make a big difference in how this cold plays out. Research shows us this is one of those supplements that can decrease the intensity and the duration of a cold. Here's why. Because zinc is what I call a superior supplement. You actually need zinc for a lot of metabolites, a lot of things to work in your body. So, do you need zinc every day? Well, that depends. That's another personal play. A lot of times you can look at someone's nails, and if the nails are brittle, that's a sign that, maybe you want to look at zinc. Zinc could be a big player in that situation. But that's, again, personal play. But zinc is always a good idea when you're starting to feel unwell. So oftentimes people say, is bone broth then kind of a supplement? And I say, exclamation point, yes, yes, and yes. Why? Because think about all the things that we talked about to build armor. You need to make sure that you're always in an upbuilding all the time in your body. That's youth, that's regeneration. And that protein in there and the bone broth is really good at building healthy bones, healthy collagen, healthy joints, all those things that we need for our bodies to run properly. We talked about minerals. Bone broth has minerals in there, really helpful for us. And also the big hit, of course, is the cooked collagen, which is that gelatin. And is this gelatin like Jell-O gelatin? No, way different. This is in its most natural form, untouched. So gelatin is good for hair, skin, nails, teeth. It's good for healing the gut. Really wonderful with a probiotic. It's like a prebiotic and a probiotic all in one. So is bone broth a supplement? Absolutely. Do I take it every day? You know I do. Well, I actually love these nutritional IVs. Why? Because I've seen them perk people up. When do you want to think about these? When you're not feeling well and you feel something coming on, or you haven't been feeling well, a lot of times getting those high doses of vitamin C through an IV, or maybe getting some glutathione, which really helps bring those antioxidants to our body and get those toxins out, can be really helpful. If you have a hangover, we know a lot of these hangover bars are opening up because there are supplements that are very helpful, like NAD, when it comes to overdoing it, and hydration. Hydration is one of the best things that you can do to combat a hangover, because most of the time that's what's going on. You're extremely dehydrated. So these nutritional IVs, they're pricey. I'm not going to kid. They are pricey. They're about the cost of a massage. So if you have that extreme situation where you need to be perked up, and you need to be perked up fast, like in the case of maybe you had too much to drink, maybe you feel a cold coming on and you say, I want to get a massive dose of vitamin C right now. Or maybe in the case where you're feeling really sluggish and you just need that extra hit. Those are all great. It's a great solution for all those things. I love supplementation, and as I said, there are so many reasons why it can be so helpful for us. But you have to supplement your supplements, if that makes any sense. And what I mean is that hierarchy of health that I talk about. You also need to have enough sleep. So do all the things that we talk about for sleep, by making sure that your room is dark, making sure that it's cold enough, try to shut down the electronics, and maybe a supplement with some melatonin or something can be very helpful for you. But whatever it takes, you have to make sure you get enough sleep. Second is hydration. You have to make sure you're hydrating the body at all times. Half your body weight in ounces is the usual prescription for making sure that you get enough fluids. One of the things that you can do that can be really helpful is switch your way of thinking when it comes to exercise. we have really revolutionized when it comes to physicality and working out. And one of the things that you might want to think about is not spending all that time on a treadmill, but pick up a weight. We're learning so much more about making sure that we have muscular health. Omega-3 oil, probiotics, antioxidant, and vitamin D. The other 4 vitamins you might want to think about are B vitamins, vitamin C, zinc, and magnesium. So that's a wrap. Talking today on supplements. And again, I know you're going to have more questions and I'm here for you. So if they come to you, fire away. I'm here to answer. See you on the next episode of Digging In.